Tomorrow, Oregonians will vote on ballot measure 114, known as the Reduction of Gun Violence Act.
The measure proposes banning magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, would require a permit and safety training course, in addition to a database of permitted gun owners. Tonight, an NRA official explains how this would inhibit law-abiding gun owners and become a burden for law enforcement agencies throughout the state.
Measure 114 is a simple and effective gun safety measure.
Ballot Measure 114 will be the systematic end of firearm purchases in Oregon.
It's a ballot measure that supporters say will reduce gun violence in Oregon. However, Bean Klein with the NRA's Institute for Legislative Action says there's more to the story than this claim.
It's only going to affect law-abiding firearm owners and our NRA members, and it's not going to have any measured impact on the Reduction of Gun Violence Act, as it's titled.
The NRA has taken a strong stance against Measure 114, which would ban magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds.
First, again, these are commonly owned and commonly used.
Anthony Johnson with the Measure 114 campaign says they support the ban.
Those high-capacity magazines of more than 10 are used in the most deadly mass shootings, and so Measure 114 will save lives.
However, Klein says many popular firearms in the U.S. come with magazines that can hold anywhere from 15 to 30 rounds. The proposed law says they could be grandfathered in, but under certain restrictions. Klein explained the burden that Ballot Measure 114 could place on local law enforcement agencies.
And we're already underfunded and already understaffed in Oregon. It is going to be the responsibility of individual law enforcement agencies to conduct the permitting process as well as the training.
Johnson says 114 is good for state spending.
It's an investment not only in saving lives, which is the most important thing, it's also an investment in our economy because gun deaths cost our state billions of dollars a year.
Measure 114 supporters say it would also close a background check loophole.
Currently, 3% of gun sales in Oregon take longer than 3 days, and when a when the background check takes longer than 3 days, then the seller can sell that gun to someone, even if they're not legally allowed to possess it.
A background check is already required for any purchase or any transfer of a firearm in Oregon and in federal law. If the background check hasn't been processed, then FFL has the discretion to release the firearm. In practice, that rarely, if ever, happens.
Ballot Measure 114, one section mentions Oregon State Law 166.055. That law does not exist. I spoke with Oregon Legislative Counsel, who said if the ballot gets voted in, legislation would have to later amend it anytime during session.